Are we live?
Yay.
Hi! Hello, I'm gonna wait a couple minutes to let people get on. How cute is this though? I got this at Walmart. Welcome to the last episode of PEEPSONALITY Live. I am Emily Hutchinson with the Hutch Oven, and I am an author. I bake a lot of stuff. I teach my tips and tricks on TV, and I love teaching people what I know. So today, I'm going to teach you how to make this adorable cookie cake using Peeps, but look, can you see that? It's so good. We're using the berry Peeps, so I have a pack right here so you guys can see. But these are so delicious. They have that berry flavor that just brings a whole nother level of deliciousness to the cookie cake. So again, if you're just joining, welcome to PEEPSONALITY Live. It is the last one in the series. And if you go on to the IGTV on Peeps brand or on peepsbrand.com, you can see the past episodes with crafts and recipes and incredibly talented people sharing treats all using Peeps. So today we are going to, like I said, make a cookie cake, but my sister Johanna is running the camera. So
hi.
She's saying hi. So we would love to engage with you. So give us some hearts, tell us where you're watching from, tell us what your favorite Peep is, and maybe what dessert you're making for Easter. And if you are undecided, you might want to make this berry cookie cake. It's so delicious. We're going to give you one more view of that because we don't know who's just hopping on now. But again, I am Emily Hutchinson. I'm an author. I've written 2 cookbooks, and I love teaching so much. It just brings me so much joy. Being in the kitchen is like my place of happiness and peace. So I'm hoping to bring you some of that happiness today into your screens. So what we have, well, let me just start with, I preheated my oven to 350 degrees. Now, I don't know if you're gonna have time to bake along with me today, but at peepsbrand.com, there's the full recipe and instructions, so you can revert back to this video if you have any questions or anything. So, and if you have any questions while you're watching, let me and Joe know, and we will get to your questions when we can. But first of all, I have my butter and my sugars and my salt creamed already in my stand mixer. And the reason why I've got my salt in there now and not with my dry ingredients is because I really want the salt to incorporate in with the butter. I don't want, like, you know, in a chocolate chip cookie where you need that like salty bite of the salt. Well, here we don't. It's just elevating the flavors that are with the cookie cake. So we've got white sugar and brown sugar, and you're gonna cream that for a couple minutes. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add our 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and we're gonna mix that. And then I've got an egg, and I've got an egg yolk. Easy to separate that. You can separate it in your hands, or you can use the shell to separate the yolk and save the egg white. I save my egg whites because I eat those for breakfast. But, so I'm just gonna add those in. You can do it one at a time, or you can just drop them both in. And it does not have to be room temperature. So the butter, you want to be softened, which means that when you press your finger into the butter, it's gonna leave a small indentation. You don't want it to be like soggy butter that's been sitting out for 2 days, you know, in a warm kitchen, because then your butter is going to not cook the right way. So we want it to be softened. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unlock my mixer, and I'm just gonna scrape this down a little bit. I want all my ingredients to be incorporated. Let's see. And then we're just gonna mix that again just for a second. Let's get that going a little bit here. I like to dance in my kitchen. I like to listen to music in my kitchen too. We have no music going on right now, but what do you do in your kitchen? And also, did anyone tell us what their favorite Peeps were?
We liked some chocolate Peeps, some lemonade Peeps, and cotton candy, I believe.
Oh, yum. Okay, have you tried the berry ones yet? These are so good. Okay, so what we're gonna do, what I already did right before I went live, is I popped these into the microwave for, I think, 20 seconds, and then I let them like cool for a second. I don't want you to stir these up. I don't want them to be really hot and cook our egg here. So I'm just gonna drop these down in here, and there's going to be a few little chunks of PEEP in there. And I'm gonna show you on the cake that I already baked earlier that you're gonna see those beautiful chunks in your cookie cake on the top, but we're gonna decorate over top of that. But I still love that it's not completely melted. There are a little bit of chunks in there. So we're just gonna stir that up. Joe, if you can kind of show our friends that are watching at home kind of what the batter looks like right now. So that's what it's gonna look like, my friends. All right, so it is a little chunky, which that's what I want. And then in a separate bowl, I have my flour. So I got 2 1/4 cups of flour, all-purpose flour. And then I've got, I think, half a teaspoon of baking powder. So I don't have the recipe memorized. Like I said, it's on peepsbrand.com, but I'm pretty confident that's what it is. Okay, so I'm just gonna whisk that up. And if I can show you guys this really quick. Okay, sorry. When you're at home, this is the biggest culprit of dry baked goods, and we don't want a dry cookie. So to measure your flour, it's super important. I always say use a scoop and level method. And so what that is you're just gonna scoop in your flour right on top, and then you're not gonna do the cutting motion. That's what I learned in elementary school. You're not gonna do that here. You're just gonna scrape it straight off, and that is going to be how you measure your flour. So, oops, I got a little bit on my foot. All right, so we're just gonna dump that in. Again, that's our baking powder and our flour. So I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna lock it down. Make sure you push the lock and not the turn on before you put your towel over the top. That has happened. Flour everywhere. While this is mixing, Joe, she's behind, she's reading the comments and questions. Does anyone have any questions? Is there a way to like scroll to see if everyone's following us? You're doing great.
There's a lot of people on.
Okay.
Not a lot of questions, just a lot of how good it looks and how much they love PEEPS.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
it looks like someone likes the yellow PEEPS, the yellow chick PEEPS like I do.
Oh, yes. I love that. Okay. All right. So I've got my dough right here. Okay. So I'm just gonna take this, and then I've got a springform pan. And a springform pan, this is a non-stick. I don't know if you have one of these in your kitchen, but you know what? I see these a lot at the thrift store. So if you don't have one at home, go check out the thrift store or go buy a new one. But what it is this is the bottom of our pan, and then it just closes like this if you're gonna make cheesecake, but it works amazing on cookie cakes. So I'm just gonna take this out. I'm gonna scrape off my dough. You can see some of the marshmallow hanging on to the, so delicious. You guys, the flavor of this is unreal. So when I first was recipe testing and making this recipe special for you guys, my son Mikey, he just turned 13, but he's a cookie monster, and he kept coming in and sneaking slices after I shot it and everything, and I was like, too many cookies, Mikey. You're eating way too many cookies. But he would keep asking, can I have another slice, because it's so good. Okay, so one thing I do want to note is you want to make sure to stir all the stuff up. See, I didn't do a super great job because I was a little distracted and chit-chatting with you guys, but see how there's a little bit of the buttered dough that doesn't have that everything mixed in. You want to just make sure that it's all incorporated. And you don't want to just keep mixing and mixing, then you're going to overwork the gluten. You just want to make sure that it is all together and good to go. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn this out. Here, let me move this so you guys can see everything I'm doing here. We're just gonna turn this out, get all that delicious dough right there. And then I have my offset spatula. This is like my best friend. I use this all the time. And when I'm done baking, I'm gonna show you. I don't think that you guys will be able to see though. When my cookie cake is done, I think our live will have ended. But I have a really awesome trick that I do with my cookie cakes when they come out of the oven. So what I'm doing is I'm just spreading this evenly on top. So when this bakes in the oven, it doesn't have like bumps or anything to it. All right, so I'm just gonna smooth that, and you can kind of see the chunks in there too. So you see a little bit, you can see the delicious marshmallow chunks. And then I'm just gonna give it a couple taps just in case there's any air bubbles hiding under here. And then I'm gonna pop this into my oven. So I have it on, So I have it on the middle rack, and it's gonna be baking for about 25 minutes, 25 to 30, depending on your oven. I have a really hot Wolf range, so you just wanna keep an eye on it. So yours could bake hotter, yours could bake not as hot. You just wanna be really careful. And this is something I did not do. Set your timer, friends. Always set your timer. So I'm gonna set that right now so I don't forget, because I don't want a burnt cookie cake. All right, got it. Easy peasy. All right, now for the fun part. This is my favorite part. We're gonna decorate. All right, so see this. It's just a simple grass tip, and it's a large grass tip. So I have a large grass tip right here, and it just, let's see, I'll clean. So my buttercream is a crusting buttercream, and what that means is that when it sits out for, let's say, 12 hours, it develops a really thin crust, so things can gently be stacked on this. So you can kind of see here, I'm touching the buttercream, and it's not smearing. How wonderful is that? If I really press hard, it's going to smash though. So I always use my crusting buttercream on cookies. Sometimes you can put them in bags. It just depends on what you want to do. But anyways, let's get back to this. All right, so for the sake of television, I already decorated the cookie cake a little bit so you don't have to watch me squeeze for 15 minutes with the whole grass tip. But Joe, if you can zoom in here, see how there's the chunks of the marshmallow that is kind of crystallized around there. Oh, it's so delicious with the butter and everything. It's like such a beautiful marriage of flavors in this cookie cake. Okay, so if you don't have, this is a grass tip. It's a Wilton 234. So if you don't have this big giant tip, I just ordered it on Amazon, and you have like a smaller grass tip, those are the most common ones at Joann's or Michael's, tip 233. You can also use that. If you don't have that, what you can do is you can take your offset spatula or just take a knife and just smear on the buttercream on top of your cookie cake, and you can kind of make little marks or waves into the top of your buttercream, and so it kind of looks like a field. All right, so what we're gonna do, so I already, if you can see, I already squeezed all the way around, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start squeezing and then release. And so I'm gonna squeeze so that buttercream, and then what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna kind of turn it to the side a little bit so it's more like whimsical, so the grass is going all different directions, so it really does look like grass. And I feel like this is so perfect for Easter. I mean, it can't get more perfect than this. Okay, and I also want to say that while you're doing this, so if you see my hands, so I'm piping straight up and down, and then I have my guide hand, so it's kind of directing where my piping bag is going to go. So this is how I decorate, because it gives me a lot more control. And then when I'm going to do, I want to start from the inside and work my way out, because if I start on the outside and work my way in, when I get to that center, I'm going to start squishing the grass. So I'm just going to keep squeezing and releasing all the way around, and I'm just going to kind of rock through this. And while I'm doing this, I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to ask you guys if you guys wanted to share a really fun memory from Easter, from your childhood, or a tradition that you do with your kids now. What's a really fun tradition that you guys do? So I'll start. So when we were kids growing up, we went to my grandparents every year, and my grandma she was actually the one that taught me to bake when I was 5, and she sadly, we lost her from cancer years ago when I was 12, and then we actually just lost my pop-pop this last December. And so Easter is going to be a little different for our family this year, but we are still all getting together and celebrating up in Oso at my grandparents' house. But what my grandma used to do for us every year is she used to give us those really giant blow-up plastic bunnies. Do you remember those, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And we would get, they were like this high. I mean, when we were little, they were like as tall as we were. And so every year she would get us those bunnies, and it was like the best thing ever. And I don't know when it stopped. I mean, obviously we got too old that we didn't, want the big blow-up bunnies anymore. But I mean, does anyone know what I'm talking about? Is anyone from our generation that knows what those big blow-up plastic bunnies are? Because Joe, I feel like we should look for plastic bunnies and see if we can find ones. All right, so.
Oh my goodness. So it looks like 2 people on here have moms that baked lamb cakes and the head would fall off every year.
Oh, stop.
And no, 2 people have the same story, kind of. Yeah. One of them, they would laugh. It had to be reattached every time. And then the other, it would fall off every year, and it became a tradition.
Oh my gosh.
So,
that is amazing. I feel like we need to do something like that.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh. That seriously is amazing. Okay, so, and then if anyone else has some traditions, we would love to hear.
Easter baskets from Grandma is a big
I
tradition.
love that. We do that. Easter's a big holiday for us. We do, it's like not really a second Christmas, but we do really, really good Easter baskets. And we hide, my kids are older now, so we hide the money eggs around. Okay, so what I've got here on the edge, so if you want to see, I think Joe's still reading the comments, which I love. Okay, so I just am going to put a little bit of grass just in some open, empty spaces. So just kind of let it like drape around, let it fall. See, I'll show you on this side. It kind of fell right there. Just let it be fun and whimsical. And like if you are spreading it on with your offset spatula, just kind of, you can even use a star tip. So if anyone is a decorator and knows a star tip, if you're not a decorator, head to Joann's and grab a star tip, and you can just squeeze all the way around your cookie cake. This is such a wonderful and simple way to decorate like the cutest cookie cake. And you can put this on the center of your Easter table. I mean, how wonderful is that? Okay, so let me feel this. Okay, so over here has crusted a little bit. I can feel a little bit. It's still pretty soft because I frosted that earlier. So you might laugh at me when my sprinkles here just kind of like fall off on my kitchen floor. It's fine. But what I did here, so on this one, I just added a bunch of the multicolored sprinkles, which I think give it a really fun, touch. It kind of ties in the pastels of the green grass that I have here. And then this grass, I did a little bit of a different shade. Okay, so they're going on. Look at that. Okay, yes. This is what I like to see. It's holding all the sprinkles for me. So you're just gonna sprinkle it all around. This is such a good one to do with your kids because they can feel like they've really accomplished something when they're putting the sprinkles on. Okay, so, and then I have these jelly beans. You guys are Peeps lovers, so you obviously know that Peeps has jelly beans, right? Okay, these are so good. These jelly beans are like the best jelly beans. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sporadically just sprinkle those all over the cookie cake. Just like, an Easter basket would look. Oh, I got a two for one there. Okay, let me just pop that. All right. And then just sprinkle as many as you want. If you don't want any jelly beans, leave them off. But they just make it so much more fun. Okay, so what I have here is so I'm going to show you, I just kind of cut these little peeps here. So like the baby peeps. So if you want to do like daddy peep, mommy peep, baby peeps, or if this is the mom and she's got her babies right there, or if this is the big sister and she's got the siblings. I mean, however it wants to work, however you want it to work for your family. So what I do is I just got one of my berry peeps and I'm going to, let's see, I think I might have to add a little bit of buttercream like for where I'm going to place my first bunny. Okay. And what I can do also is kind of build, so I'm going to press him right down into the cookie cake. And then I can also add a little bit of the grass. So it looks like the peep is just kind of coming out of the grass right there. So how perfect is that? See, and the grass kind of lays over right there. It literally is perfect. It looks like grass. I love this so much. All right. Okay, so this is what I said we're going to cut off. I always feel bad doing this, but it's fine. It's going to be fine. Okay, so you're just going to snip. I think I might have cut her a little short. What do you guys think? Maybe should I left a little bit more of her? Okay.
She's peeking out.
She's just peeking out. It's not just a head down in the grass, you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this one. I'm gonna cut this one just right here in the center of the belly, so we can just give our cookie cake some dimension and different height, because I love that when it's on the table and people are looking at it. It draws your eyes to it. So I'm gonna place this one right back here, and then I can also put a little bit of grass around there. Let's see. And then just to make it really sturdy, you know, like the bunny's not gonna move anywhere. Okay. So I'm gonna do 5 because we're a family of 5, and my sister Jo is also a family of 5. So I'm going to do 5. I'm gonna cut this one maybe a little bit lower on the belt, so maybe cut the tushy off, and then I'm just gonna stick that right down in there. And then I'm going to, I think I'm gonna do the dad right here. Just the mom and the dad, same size. I'm gonna do that. Maybe we'll build the dad up a little bit. So he's a little taller in our family. He might not be taller in your family, and that is totally fine. You make the mom taller. My daughter is almost 6 foot, and I love tall women, so you do whatever you want to do. All right, so look at how stinking cute that is. It's just like a super happy, darling family of Peep bunnies on the most delicious cake. Speaking of delicious cake, okay, that is not done yet, but I really wanted to show you guys. So when your cookie cake comes out of the oven, so a cake has baking powder in it, so it's going to rise, obviously. And so sometimes it rises more on the outside of the cookie cake. So you want to take an offset spatula and you gently, as soon as it comes out of the oven, you don't want to wait, you don't want to let it cool at all, because then this won't work. So you want to press the sides all the way around, gently but firmly, and then you have a complete flat surface to pipe on. So that is like my most favorite tip. But I have more tips and tricks and delicious recipes at the Hutch Oven on Instagram. I have a blog, the Hutch Oven. So follow me, come hang out. I would love to have some new peeps and get to know you there over on my page as well. But if you want the recipe and the instructions and everything, remember to go to peepsbrand.com. And then also they have every single one. They have ones that we did, I did for Christmas, for fall, for last year on Easter. We did these adorable Peeps cookies that look just like Peeps. So there's so many ideas and crafts and wonderful things at peepsbrand.com. And if you happen to make this cookie cake, we would love to see. So tag me, tag Peeps Brand, hashtag PEEPSONALITY live, so we can hop on that hashtag and see everyone that's made stuff with the PEEPSONALITY lives. But without further ado, I feel like we need to cut into the cookie cake. I think we need some hearts. Do you guys think so? Let's get some hearts. Let's see. Let's cut into this guy. Okay. Da-da. All right. Let's cut that. Just cut into this guy right here. Okay. Jo, I'm going to cut you a slice too. Okay. Look at that. It's so good.
That looks so
See,
yummy.
I actually underbake mine a little bit because I like mine to be extra soft. So that's just a personal preference. You can bake yours a little bit longer, but I need a soft cook. It's so good. Oh my gosh. Okay. You guys have to try this, Jo. Woo! That is so good. You get the punch from the berries. And it's a big cookie. And it's not like, it's not like cakey. It's like a cookie. Isn't it so good, Jo?
Yeah.
It's so delicious. So, I have had so much fun. I've loved teaching you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching the PEEPSONALITY lives. And until next time, I hope you guys have a good night, and I will see you soon.